Welcome back. Part two.
Hello.
Part
Yeah.
two. And I actually realized when I first introduced you as I forget the order, but I was like author, pilot, and animal advocate. I was using the rule of three. Come on.
You're on point. See? Now here comes the book.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna write about, but yeah. And these will come out a week apart, so it's just, we are happening to wear the same exact outfits that we did, but it's, maybe we just like these shirts.
Well, it's sweater weather here in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania, so
yeah.
you kind of go to your favorites.
Oh, of course. Well, it's funny too because I have no like sense of style or that's just not my forte. And my brother-in-law John, like he did our designs for our Wagwork shirts, and then any shirt that I have, like this one for example, he's given it to me, so I just only wear shirts made by him.
Huh.
I'm like,
Hey,
well, you know.
follow his lead.
So we left off talking a little bit about your first book, which is halfway home,
Yeah.
and you were talking a little bit about the publishing process. Do you want to kind of jump back into that?
Yeah, so just to recap, I published with a hybrid publishing house. So for
Hmm.
me, I was totally green. So there's self-publishing, hybrid publishing, and then traditional publishing.
Hmm.
Traditional publishing, in my opinion, in what I've seen, are really for people who are going to make this a career, or they already are established in some sort of um, entertainment or publication process, and they have an agent that's going
Hmm.
to facilitate that transaction. And then even if you do not have an agent, but you do land at a publishing house, they kind of are going to want you to make more than one book. Like they need to make a profit off of you.
Sure.
And I can promise you, one book is not going to do that when you're making $1 a book. Um, so,
If you
um,
throw New York Times bestseller on there, maybe it'll work.
Right, exactly. So then for you, and then for me, what I also learned too, I was actually quite literally given a worksheet and answered questions about what my book goals are. So for me, I'm like a middle of the pack person, but I want to have control over when I do like a book tour or a book signing versus a traditional, like you straight up, you have a job, you have a commitment and a
Right.
contract to satisfy. So the idea of getting on an airplane after I've already been flying and leaving my husband and dogs again to go tour about my book is not appealing. But what is appealing is, I keep it at a 2 hour driving radius,
Hmm.
and I might go up to Scranton for an overnight and do something up there.
Got to
Um,
get back to the home place,
Back to the
right?
homestead again,
Yeah,
just see
yeah.
what's up with my office
The
peeps.
old stomping grounds.
That's it. But that's about, I don't, and like I've gone down to Delaware before. I've done some aviation events at airports
Hmm.
to talk about aviation's role in animal rescue, which is primarily what both my books are about. So I can decide when that suits my lifestyle for that. Where again, the traditional, it just is a little bit more of like someone who wants to make this their full-time job.
Sure.
So now self-publishing, um, you do not have to follow any of the rules of three in the self-publishing world at all.
Yes.
You can do whatever you want. They're more for me. I observe them and I love them as their passion projects, and
Hmm.
mine are that too. But the reason why I felt in the middle of the pack was I wanted my books to be able to. I wanted to be able to apply for awards. So both of my books have a Mom's Choice Award.
Really?
Yes, and they're actually in the section called Best for Pets.
How awesome is that?
So one side, that's kind of why I really latched onto that rule of three because I
Sure.
knew I was going to submit for those, and I wanted to be able to see if I had a shot at those.
Oh yeah.
Now, if some people do not care about them at all, and they, like I said, they just have a passion project where they
Hmm.
just kind of have something that it's really important for them to write about. So I felt like that, but I craved the structure, which was probably like the pilot in me,
And
and then
yeah,
I wanted like the loosey-goosey flexibility about how I sell and market and interact with my books and my
and that
community.
tracks based on, your experiences with high school, going to college. Like it keeps it
Right.
organized, keeps a structure there, and if you have a certain goal, okay, this is what I need to do to achieve that. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you're
The
oh, go ahead.
flexibility was great with the self-publishing.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
what I liked about it. So these are my second editions. My first editions, I guess I might have one here. Um, the paper quality is not nearly as good as my newer ones. So
Hmm.
these are all matte pages.
Hmm.
You can even see I even had some print problems. See how the margins
Oh yeah,
are funky? So, unfortunately, when you publish, even with the hybrid publishing house, there's only so much that can be done about
sure.
that. You are kind of limited, whereas when because you're committed to their printer, their printing house,
Gotcha.
and there's a lot of logistics to return them and get new ones in place. So, there's nothing wrong with all, like, not all of them look like that. So the reason why I have this one here is because I won't sell it to anyone.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
use this for like giveaways or something.
Right.
But I did have like I had well over 100 that were kind of snafu'd like that.
Hmm.
Did get frustrated, and I feel like the printing part of publishing in authorship is sort of like the dark horse. No one wants to talk about it because they don't want you to think that you have like a poor qual. They have a poor
Right.
quality.
Yeah, you don't want to, especially if they're like a publishing house that's like well
Right.
received. You don't want, if you
Right.
come to them, they're like, well, we're doing this for, it's
Yes.
tricky spot.
It is. And so I ask everyone who's listening, if you come into this, if you run into I ask you to ask to give grace to the author.
Yeah.
It's a little out of their hands. So then same book, Daring Dexter, you can even see I have gloss
Oh
covered
yeah. Oh, it's
covers.
great.
I now have my award seal.
How did
The
you, between your first and your
pages are
second
like
edition? Oh,
super
they're yeah,
fun.
better quality too.
Everything is, yeah.
Do you,
Everything
and
about
that
the
was
book.
like if you buy on Amazon, you don't know what kind of quality you'll get. But now, I guess was that a conversation you had to have with your hybrid publishing house?
I
To
did. I
okay.
did. And so that was I was expressing my frustration and I said, I would like to seek other printing houses and like, well, we in fairness, I know a lot of the other authors who published with them and I was really the only one that was experiencing this. There was
Hmm.
a couple of other people.
They were probably cat people.
Yeah, yeah, the cat people. Yeah, all their books were like primo, just like, as those cats are, just,
Yeah.
clean, tidy, looked great. But I mean, like, so I don't mean to badmouth the company that I use because I liked them, but I
Mhm.
really just had a, I
Oh,
mean, I
sure.
was
I mean,
having,
I think you did a good job. You expressed your frustrations, and now look, you enjoy the
yeah.
product that you have. So,
And they were cool. They were like, you know what, you actually have learned a lot, Erin. I mean, some people are kind of, and it's not a negative, are a one-hit wonder with their books, and
yeah,
like they just kind of, they did it, they got it out there, they maybe sold 500 books, and they're totally happy. But like it seems like you want to do more with yours. So our suggestion would be to take our self-publishing course. And learn how to do it, get your ISBN. And I was so intimidated on doing that. So all to say is there is yet another company who I highly recommend for anyone, particularly in the children's book world. They're called Babooky, Babooky,
well,
and the
bookie.
gentleman who
I like
runs it is,
that.
yeah, Nathan. Nathan is great. So he does a la carte publishing services. So I can go to him and say, I went on the ISBN network page and I'm stumped at how to download it and get my books registered.
Sure.
And you just pay him an hourly fee and he will help you at wherever you're at. So I did use some a la carte services from him. And then it was his recommendation for this the print houses that he uses.
Yeah, yeah. It
So
looks great.
I still needed some. I just still needed a little bit of guidance and reassurance. But if there's anyone who doesn't have money for the whole hybrid experience, because it's going to be a lot, everybody breathe, but it's going to be anywhere between 5 and 10,000.
Yeah, and a lot
And
of that's the illustration, correct?
it is, yeah. So the illustrator usually gets, depending on they're independently contracted in, so it depends on what their price is, anywhere from 2,500 to 4,500 is
Hmm.
about what I see. And then the person who now they illustrate it, but then the illustrations get laid out like that rule of three, like what pieces
Yeah, yeah.
where, and then like where do the words fit around it? Because I've seen some other books where like the words kind of bleed over the illustration, and it just kind of gets it loses the story a little bit because you're a little distracted with the layout.
Sure.
So then that person has to get paid, the editor has to get paid, the distribution house needs to get paid, and so does the printing house. So there's like five entities. So no one's really making a ton of money, but almost everyone gets about 2,000.
Right. So it will, yeah. So as might be good to be a pilot before you start writing, then, right? You get
Now,
it.
some people do GoFundMe's
Yeah,
or Kickstarters. Yeah,
yeah.
so that sounds completely ridiculous to front that kind of money for a book.
Yeah, that is kind of
It
yeah.
does. You're just like, what are we doing here? So, for me, in the world of Erin, like my goal is to just get my investment back. Like I'm looking to get, like, I know how much I spent on both of these, and I'm just looking to break even.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm really kind of mission oriented. Like this coming year, I'm going to be a little bit more mission oriented towards schools. Like I'm looking
Hmm.
for people to buy like a group of 20 or 25 for a classroom. I have
Nice.
a whole bunch of worksheets that I made that pair up with the books nicely so the teachers already have like an immediate lesson plan. They don't have to think much about it.
Yeah.
So, that because I've kind of exhausted my friends and family. They're like,
Sure. Yeah, I guess
got
you
it, Erin. You wrote a book. I
did.
mean, like,
That's
yay.
right. I've already
How
sold
many?
all my Wagworks hats to all my friends and family. I got a whole
Hey, you know
trailer.
how it, yeah, right, right. And it
Yeah.
only, I mean, they're happy for me, but it's like, I mean, after they buy one or two books or
Yeah,
get,
how many more books? I'll
right.
take 10 copies of the same book. That's it, right?
Yeah,
So your first book, now you wrote that before you had Dexter, is that
yeah,
correct?
yeah. So that was halfway home. That
And
was
so that was kind of a look into how Zeke started off being kind of unsure and anxious, and then
Mhm.
go to the second book, and he's actually in there, right? And you can see him being
Yeah.
more confident. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's kind of how I portrayed that. So they're technically, again, from a literary standpoint, they aren't a complete series. And so the
Hmm.
definition of a series is it's written in the same tone of voice, like
Gotcha.
it's the same point of view. So this is written in a narrator's point of view. So
Hmm.
like I'm telling, objectively telling the story, um, and like we're observing it. Whereas halfway home, or excuse me, during Dexter is it's a little bit more comical, and so I
Hmm.
just thought it'd be fun for it to be in Dexter's voice. So it's from Dexter's point of view, but you do see a more confident Zeke. He's no longer like, excessively drooling and,
So cool.
like afraid of people.
Yeah.
Actually, Dexter's really afraid to be rescued after he gets injured, and he's
Yeah.
really befriending him and reassuring him, like, hey man, I've been
You'll
there
be good.
and it's
He's
gonna
been
be
there.
okay.
That
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah.
I get a kick out of like, with like your dogs are on the cover of your book, and then the same thing like, Cedric's on the Wagworks, or like people's dogs are logos, and the dogs just have no idea. They're just happy to be there. They just like.
No, I mean, anyone who follows me on Instagram, I'm constantly posing my dogs with books, and
Mhm.
I put a bandana on them or whatever the situation is. And then I've become, I know, I appreciate so much how much an author puts into a book, whether it's like a really polished, traditionally published book,
Mhm.
or somewhere in the middle like me, or the self-publishing. It's a lot to learn to self-publish. It's a huge learning curve where the traditional house would do that for all of you. So I tend to lean towards the self and hybrid publishing
Mhm.
authors because I know what the hustle is.
Sure.
But it's the same thing, like you said about Cedric. Like I just like put these books from authors in front of Zeke and Dexter. I tell them to sit, and I know
They're like, all right.
it's to the point now that I literally just like get my cell phone out and I tell
Yeah.
them, and they just sit down. Like they're like, okay,
They're ready
and
for
here,
it.
oh, here comes the book. No,
Like, I
just
didn't realize it's gonna be a model as well.
so whenever you look at my Instagram and you see Zeke or Dexter with the book, they're just like, all right. I
Yeah.
mean, appease her, whatever this is.
Well, it was really cool too, and we touched on it just briefly in the last episode. But pictures taken from the dog magazine you got to incorporate in your book. So do you want to talk a little bit about what that is and how it's cool because you have your pilot network, you have your dog mom network, your author network, and you're just learning a lot from different people. So that's been really cool.
Yes, absolutely. So, through a volunteer at the SPCA, I learned about a woman who is local in Pennsylvania, and she runs a photography business. So that's her
Hmm.
primary business. And from there, she branches off and supports rescues through coffee table books that she manufactures from
Hmm.
people who want to participate from their photo session. And then she recently just launched Dog Mom Magazine. So,
Oh, look who's on the cover there. That's what
well,
I'm
who
talking
is
about.
that? Right?
And
Yeah.
you were talking about how like at first when they were like suggested you're like I don't want to do that, and
I
then
know.
now
I was
you're
like,
you're like, oh yeah, give me
yeah,
in
I was like ridiculous. A photo session with my dog and how to
there.
sit with the cost of it. I was like, okay. So I don't have children, but I do have 12 nieces and nephews. So I
Mhm.
reached out to some family and I was like, how much have you guys paid for like senior photos? Like, is this,
Right.
what is the deal here? So it's completely reasonable. This I just
Sure.
Never even thought about it. So she does these awesome photo sessions that are really intimate. So for me, the first one that I did was in her studio, and I learned more in person with her. And she showed me how her coffee table books, she does several a year,
Hmm.
and she picks a specific rescue, and each book usually she usually donates about 5,000 to the rescue. Like it's
Wow.
significant. So she's already over, I'm pretty sure she's over the $60,000 mark of donating to rescues throughout her career.
Amazing. Yeah.
So her studio is Lux Summit Studio. It's in North Wales, Pennsylvania. And after I saw the pictures and I had the intimate experience with her in the photo session, I realized I was paying for a whole lot more than photos.
Sure.
And since she is so also like-minded, like she likes to support people and their endeavors, she was like, "Well, why don't you bring your books to the photo session? We can do a couple of branding photos." And you know, because at the time I just wanted to change when I was coming out with my second editions, I
Hmm.
wanted to change my bio picture.
Yeah.
So let me grab an old one here again. So my bio picture is great. A friend of mine took it.
Hmm.
I did get a critique on it though, which again I was hoping to receiving. So I was at Barnes and Noble and I was doing a book signing.
Yeah.
So I was talking about how I was in my pilot uniform and the I definitely of course have seen people react to me in my uniform. And there was a woman who kind of leaned over quiet to me and she said, "I have a note for you. Are you open to it?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "Sure." Now I'm always critiqued in the pilot world. Whenever we go to flight training and the
Sure.
simulator, all you do is sit down and hear about everything you did wrong. So
Oh.
I did whenever
So
somebody has a
you're
note,
already used to it through that. You would
I'm already
already
used to
like
the
I did not
humiliation.
take criticism very
It's
well.
fine. So I was just like, yeah, I'm open to it. She goes, "Your bio picture looks really pretty, but I just wanted to tell you that it doesn't represent like you. Like I'm sitting here and looking at you in your uniform, and you're interacting with children in your uniform, and I'm watching how they're responding to you. And I just would like you to consider something or have your dogs in it with you, something a little more personal than just your traditional headshot."
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So then cut to the photography session. And then when I saw the result of the session, I mean, I was taken back. I was like, and her whole goal is, she goes, my goal is for you to be able to step out of yourself. I want you to see what other people see when you are interacting with your dogs, when you're in your uniform, when you're marketing your books. So, my bio page has really changed,
Yeah.
and it's thanks to Kristen, and then my friend Nathan at Babuki. So this is like what my bio page looks like now.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
I understand what that woman was saying. She's like, it's
Yeah.
not capturing
At
the
the
essence.
time, you're like, ugh, lady, you don't know
Yeah,
anything.
I was like, I don't know, lady. Every other author. I mean, even if you look at like
Yeah.
Stephen King's headshots or someone professional,
Yeah.
just their head and they're just sitting there, right? Like a school picture. But
Yeah.
she's like, just meeting you, like you have a different personality, and I think you're missing an opportunity to showcase that. So
Yeah.
I now include my photos from my session
That's
in the
so
photo book, and I
great.
have a nod to the Lux Summit Studios for anyone
Yeah.
else who's interested. And so she also does advertisements. That are available in Dog Mom. And then
Hmm.
again, so she's so like-minded with me that she's just like constantly showcasing other things that people do. So this was
Yeah.
our feature, but
That's
anyone
awesome.
else who has like something for sale or something to do uh,
Yeah.
can be showcased in Dog Mom. And even if you're across the mile, she finds a way to make it happen because she just wants to share the dog community. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for your advertisement in the next issue.
Yeah, one of these days. How great is that? Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that stuck out to me whenever I stumbled across her Instagram. I forget, I think it was maybe the Pilots to the Rescue episode I did or something,
Oh
with
yeah.
Michael Schneider. I don't know, I stumbled across her Instagram page and I saw you wearing the pilot, but then I saw there was a book going on and I was like, oh, this seems like a really interesting person. And now we're doing a double episode.
No,
So,
I appreciate that because so
yeah,
that was the response the woman in Barnes and Noble had to me. She was just like, "I'm seeing these different things of you, even why I'm just here in Barnes and Noble, and it'd be cool if you can figure it out." So I didn't do the photo shoot to satisfy that. I just in my head thought, "Geez, I need a new bio picture. Maybe I should consider this photo shoot." And then when I had the experience and then I got the photos, I mean, I use them in all of my ads and my marketing stuff now.
sure.
We did a second session that was specifically just for Dog Mom Magazine, and
Hmm.
mom and dad were here. So then she said, "Well, why don't we do a hybrid session? We'll get some photos with you and your parents and your husband." So cut to our Christmas cards already done. Like, I
That's
mean, you
so
can use it
great.
in so many
Yeah.
ways. Like, I use them for, I'm looking around, I don't have one really close by, but all of my bookmarks are from the photo session.
Yes, I remember you showed me that early
And
on.
so once again, all back to the Scranton roots of having no money. I'm like, all right, if I'm going to invest in this,
You're gonna use it
I am going
everywhere.
to get every penny out of this. I was featured in a local magazine.
Yeah.
And it was a fitness portion of the magazine, but it talks about how when I come home from work, I just hit the trails with my dogs, and
Yeah.
that's like my physical, mental workout,
Oh, I
and
love
being with
it.
them. And so then these photos were also, of course, from the photo shoot.
Yeah, yeah. I need to get some decorations. I always take over my dad's office. I made him make him sit outside.
Yeah,
And
Dad,
so
whatever,
it's
whatever, Dad.
he's
You
outside reading.
you
I was
only
like, all
gave me life. It's no big deal.
right.
Well,
So
here's the best thing. This piece is really handy because I do have some other stuff behind my desk a little bit
you
unsightly, and
can
I'm
hide
like,
it.
I just smush everything back and put this in the
Oh,
background.
that's awesome. Yeah, that looks great. So then that was somehow as well connected to the dog mom retreat. Is that right? Because
Mhm.
before you and I had even talked or set up a time to talk, I'd like DM'd you and be like, my mom would love that. I was like,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. A lot of people have had a big response to it. So there is going to be a Dog Mom Retreat 2026.
Hmm.
So the first copy which was technically the pilot issue, this is my friend Jennifer Estelle. She
Hmm.
owns a 16-acre vineyard, and all of that is inspired by her former dog Buster, and it's in honor of him. So she's a
Awesome.
pit bull advocate. And her long vision, which I love this so much, her long vision is to utilize her land for foster dog cabins. And so she's trying to do a lot of events, and not just trying, she is accomplishing them. She holds events at her vineyard, and then she also produces wine and sells it. And all of that is to facilitate these foster dog cabins. And so she wants to be able
Great
to take
idea.
foster dogs, not only let them have their own cabin and set up to decompress and deflate, but she wants to invite people who are interested in adopting them to stay the night. And that way we can avoid things like what happened with Zeke getting adopted
But
in
it ended up
return.
working. It made him stick out, right?
Yeah, it did work out. Yeah, I know. My parents always laugh about that because, my husband and I are pretty over the top with our dogs. And whenever they look at Zeke, they said, Zeke, you might have thought, my gosh, what is going on with my life? But, God was like, hang in there, man. I got a plan. It's going to be great.
Exactly.
So Jennifer Estelle runs the Endless Mountain Vineyards. Her nonprofit specifically for rescue
Hmm.
is the Be and Let Live project. And so all of us were in the same coffee table book facilitated by Lux Summit Studios. And then at the book launch, there was a little bit of language around, geez, we should have a dog mom retreat. Wouldn't that be fun? And so Jen's like, hey, well, I've got a place to host it. And then Kristen was like, hey, I've got a ton of connections in the rescue world. And I have very often rented camper vans
Hmm.
and taken my dogs out in a little adventure. And I said, geez, well, Jen was concerned about where everybody would stay, or people
Hmm.
are not really into tent camping. I said, what about the camper van? So then now we have the camper van people involved. So we do plan on doing another one next fall in
Yeah.
October. So everybody can
And the
follow.
tickets, like you put in money and then it was donated, right? Is that
Right. Yeah. So all of that went to the Be and Let Live project, which is the nonprofit associated with Jen's Vineyard. And
cool?
all of that is going to the future foster dog cabins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, kind of on a switching the gears a little bit, are you still, I know you had mentioned, I think you've flown with pilots to the rescue. Is that right?
I
So,
did.
do you still, or you have? And so, are you still going to volunteer at the SPCAs or have you pivoted a lot of your volunteering to doing these flight rescue missions?
So I definitely have pivoted. Of course, my heart is always with the Brandywine Valley SPCA in Westchester because that's where Zeke and Dexter came from. However, the excitement of me not just being a wallflower there is I'm also learning about other rescues.
Hmm.
So the Brandywine Valley SPCA, their animal air rescue program is called the Second Chance Program. So they work with a company or organization called Wings of Rescue. The two of them marry up and they figure out what animals need to be transported from where to Pennsylvania. And then I've also volunteered with and support Race for Life Rescue. And then I have such an affection for our pilots to the rescue. I mean, I've flown along with them. Um, I like Michael. He's a great pilot. I like his whole mission. You've had him on your show. Your show with him was great. And if anyone didn't see that, please definitely watch the Pilot to the Rescue episode. Um,
And Big Paw, his plane is actually in your book. Is that right?
it is, yeah. So the generic in halfway home, I sort of made the aircraft generic.
Hmm.
And just kind of played around that with that. But with Daring Dexter, I actually got in contact with every one of the rescues I just mentioned that does air transport. So that's Wings of Rescue, Race for Life Rescue, and Pilots to Rescue. So I
Yeah.
got copyright approval to have their actual aircraft
Oh, it's so
with
great.
their logos
Yeah.
throughout the whole book. So like part of it, like here we have the Wings of Rescue logo.
Yep.
And so I just love sharing when someone's doing something really cool and really good.
Sure.
So, um, I just really wanted to showcase that they were
Oh,
all on
definitely.
board, some
Yeah.
the copyright agreement within like a week, and we were just good to go.
I think you
So
see a lot of that in the dog world in particular. Like all
okay,
these people I've talked to, like they a lot of them want to help other people in the dog world, whether it's rescues, whether it's, the dog mom retreat, going on walks together, all that kind of stuff. It's a very collaborative environment.
agreed. Yeah, and I love that. In like with Lux Summit Studio, my friend Kristen Kidd, who's a photographer and the curator of Dog Mom magazine, because she does support so many different rescues with her books, and then each issue of Dog Mom supports a different rescue every time. I'm even learning about rescues in my own area that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
And so
Cool.
I just love like sharing their work and meeting them. I really like going to Kristen's like her events because she has a lot of different people to meet that are also like-minded. So yeah, I mean literally all of this that we're talking about was from Homer. I mean
Yep.
from Homer home and like I mean I mean so many people say it and I don't even as a writer the language kind of fails me
Hmm.
sometimes to say how an animal can change the trajectory of your life. I mean,
Yeah.
and it clearly has for me before I was just, I mean, just going to work every day, flying airplanes and coming home. And then it was like, geez, I wish we can have a dog. Okay, can't. Foster, fail, foster, then fail again. And then, um, some words actually did start coming to me. And then it was the idea for the books came to life. So, um,
Cut to now, you're a published author, and you have a ton of people that you're friends with that you would have never probably ran into,
never,
had it
no.
not been for Zeke and Dexter.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm
It
sure
is,
you feel the same way too. I mean, your business is blossoming. You're meeting all kinds of people.
yeah. It's
And I
it's so
love
fun. Even in my neighborhood, like I've lived here my whole life, and um, even like obviously families move, families leave, and like my parents, they don't really know anyone here, and now like I'm walking around and like all the people I see on their normal walking routes, and I'm like, hey, what's up, Joe, or whoever it is that like no one would know, and I feel really connected to like the people around me. And then on top of that, like I've just been fortunate to meet some really awesome people through this podcast that I keep up with, and they want to support, and I want to support them, and it's cool. It really is. And same as you, without Cedric, I don't know if this would have happened.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, I could totally relate to that. And then I've also even just gone out and even if it has nothing to do with my book, I've actually started trying to make it a habit of I mean, at a minimum, maybe once a month, I'm trying to go to other people's events too,
Nice.
whether it's an animal thing or a dog thing. Because I know what it's like when I have an event, and I'm hoping that people come. And also, I'm just like you said, I'm just interested in what they're doing. So I volunteered a children's outreach book club. Uh,
Hmm.
and so from there, the woman who runs that, she often asks me for a recommendation for books, which is great because she usually buys like 5 or 10 of their books for the book club.
Cool.
So that really feels good for me to help people get some of the authors get some sales
Definitely.
because we all talked about how much we all vested into getting our books going. I mean, for an independent author, if you even get anywhere from like a $10 to $20 book sale, you're tickled pink. I mean,
Yeah,
just people perspective. And if someone takes a few minutes to go on Amazon or Goodreads and leave a review, even better.
sure.
So, I just really enjoy the whole community.
Yeah, it's great. And two, like, I mean, you're talking a little bit about how, like, you have events or book signings, and, it's family and friends will come to as much as they can, of course, but then, It's tough. Like we were doing some like WagWorks events, and a couple of them went really well, but it was a lot of friends, family, that kind of thing. And then other times people are busy and they can't come out, and so it's like you just have to appreciate the people that do, and then
Yeah.
also the fact that you're saying, all right, well, I'm gonna start going to these people's events because I've experienced this. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's really like if there are book people out there, check your local Barnes and Nobles website or their social. They always have, they're so great at local author book signings. They are very welcoming to independent authors. So I invite people to just go and check out those authors and or just say hi or just say, man, that's great that you wrote this book. Even if you don't buy it. I mean, people who just walk by and say something like that to me, because you do feel a little like you're just sort of like in Barnes and Noble. It's like, hi,
You're like, hello.
you want it? So it does take a little gumption to get that going. So even
Sure.
just like give a nod or say hello or hey, this looks great, or take a bookmark and say I'm going to share this with a friend. Also awesome.
Makes a difference. Yeah. So your next project, more of a young adult, is that right? How much can you say about it right now? And I know it's in the works.
Yeah, so I kind of shelved it for a while I was getting my second editions going, but it's starting to percolate again. And I tend to do a little bit more writing in the winter. Like February, March tends to be a big writing period for me. I mean, and kind of we're all inside a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's
I
also that it's cold outside, get
the whole
cozied
thing.
up, get some
Exactly.
tea, get
Right.
some
The whole night.
soup, right?
Yes, I'm like 900 with my soup and my tea.
I know.
And I'm happy though. I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does feel really good to write in the winter. So I do have a young adult coming of age story about three young ladies who are all interested in some area of animal rescue and aviation, and they all have complex backgrounds, whether it's challenging problems at home or they have a loving home environment, or they just don't have a lot of financial means,
Hmm.
or they just like aviation and dogs and they quite literally don't know what to do. And then
Yeah.
it's like we're talking, all this community starts happening, and then we kind of get to see where they kind of go off into like college world, and it'll kind
Sure.
of be left to see. Like it'll be up to the reader to kind of decide like what their fate really ends up being,
Sure.
but you kind of see them off and you kind of have a general idea of where they're headed.
How cool. And that's honestly like you're kind of, I mean, because your path, I mean, you knew you want to be a pilot, but you could have ended up here, there, anywhere, you know what I mean? And it's kind of cool that you're able to maybe, utilize, or I guess you are utilizing a lot of what you care about with the aviation and the animals and
Yeah,
explore different paths that could have been through these characters.
absolutely. I mean, I don't like, I don't even know where to begin on this. I'll just keep it really short. I had nothing in common with anyone, even when I even went to college. I mean, I was a cheerleader. I did gymnastics, and like, so my aviation world people, they were so vastly different than the people that I actually socialized
Oh
with.
yeah. Yeah, you had that club. What was the club called that you went to?
So I was a part of the Civil Air Patrol Club at my when I was in high school.
Yep.
We just talked about like airplane stuff. Now any of my friends in high school, I mean, they would melt in that room. Like they just would not know what to do with it. And for me, I just can switch. I don't know, I just have different sides to my personality. So I was able to switch like to like nerdy serious to like running around at a basketball game in my cheerleading outfit.
Yeah.
I was just like different kid like that. So um I just didn't know anything about aviation though. The whole thing, everyone kept saying you need to know someone, you need to have a connection. Zero. I mean, my dad was an elementary school teacher. My mother worked at a university doing clerical work.
Hmm.
We had nothing. No one
Right.
in our family was connected at all. So that felt very overwhelming. I saw a lot of college kids have money and resources to be able to do internships at airlines. That was not happening for me. I literally had no idea. And every job that I got, I quite literally walked in with my resume, already knowing I didn't have the flight time, and just saying, "Hi, I'm Erin," shaking my hand. I would like to work here someday. Here's my resume. I know I don't have the flight time now. Is it okay if you keep it on file and I come and update it as I start accumulating more flights? Every job was me walking in, finding who was in charge, and an email. So I mean, there's
That's
all this language
great.
around like people just like getting handed jobs. 100% antithesis of my experience. Like I had
Sure.
no, and it again, it took. I mean, I was like 20 when I was doing that. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm typically walking in a room of men. They're all staring at me, like not even necessarily in a negative way, but just that I very much stood out. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it has been a long road, but now it's like I have the time off. I'm doing these great trips. You know, my husband's schedule's good. I have the dogs. I have the books. But again, we all have our own coming of age story, I guess.
Yeah, and I think too, like with knowing, you didn't have that network to begin with, but then now, like I don't know if it's I'm no psychologist, but like looking later in your life, and you're creating all of these networks now, and like you know how it's hard for people to become a pilot if you don't have the means to do it or don't know the right people, and now you're here writing books and kind of educating people on that and wanting kids to at least see, which that's something to be really proud of. It's very
Yeah,
cool.
thank you. It does feel really good. And I guess that's probably what drives some of my desire to keep on networking and sharing about other people's ventures, like the things that you're doing. They're great. I mean, for people like John and I, we have a dog who's reactive when people come to the house. Like we need to have confidence if we were to have someone to come here to let them out, that we know that they know how to handle him. I mean, he can be handled, but it's just he has a very set of criteria of meeting
Exactly.
and getting used to people, and then he's okay.
Hmm.
But like a layperson who doesn't have that kind of training or knowledge, like the kind of things that you're teaching, they get frustrated with Zeke. They're not, they just aren't sure, or they're intimidated. And no matter what you say, like he'll calm down in a minute, they're looking at him like, when? That minute up, I think. Oh,
Yeah.
but the more we educate people on all the different types of dogs and how to approach them and take care of them, like I said, the work that you're doing, I mean, it's valuable.
I appreciate that. I mean, I really enjoy talking to people. Obviously, I enjoy talking as well, but I enjoy seeing people get excited about things. Like
Mhm.
one of my one of my best friends, Callahan, he's doing his PhD in Illinois, something physics related. He did aerospace at NC State's, and we'll call and we'll catch up. And I mean, I'll have no idea like the terms that he's using and what he's saying, but like I can just like hear his passion through the phone, and like, I love him very much, and like he's a really good friend of mine. He's, super supportive. Wagworks loves to hear, and like I just not only him, but just other friends and other people when they're really excited about something. I don't know. That just it makes me excited. Yeah,
Yes, I get it. Yeah, it's contagious to me too. I feel the same.
it is. So we just have a couple of minutes left. Anything you want to leave out on to plug or where they can find your books? I know you said it's better if they go to your website.
Yeah, I appreciate the website sales, and I hope my customers do too, because I put a little love and affection into them. So I have some like really cute custom tissue paper that I
That's
like to
great.
wrap the books in. I sign them, and my offering is to sign them to people and pets. And then even if you have a pet that is no longer with you, you can do in memory of. I've also signed to goldfish, hamsters, you name it. You plug it, whatever name you want it in there, I'll sign it. So I do really enjoy customizing that. And my website is also where you can get the highest quality prints. If that is not important to you, you can absolutely get your books very quickly on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Bookshop. They're available there. And I just ask people to just look very quickly in the description and make sure you're ordering the second edition copies, because those are the most updated and elevated
They
levels.
got the awards on them.
That's it, right? You want to get the second editions.
Uh,
And then my website is Erin Murphy Books with an S.com. And then on social media, I'm at Erin Murphy Books. And next up, I actually am really planning a cool trip with hopefully my sister, I think. So I just
mhm.
gonna plug these guys real quick. There's an organization that helps facilitate people to fly dogs if they're already in Puerto Rico.
Yep.
You can sign up to transport them to a shelter in your area. They handle the whole logistics. They'll meet you at the airport in San Juan, and they'll give you a pup or a cat. It's going to be small because it needs to fit in the seat underneath you.
Yeah,
You just transport handle the transport, and then when you get to your destination, they've already arranged where the
they
shelter,
do
what
it from
shelter is
there.
going to meet them, and the volunteer meets you. Just hand them off.
That's fantastic. It's just about to cut off. So
Perfect.
also, just thank you so much for coming. You're awesome. And I can't wait to follow along all the other adventures and cool things you're doing.
Likewise. Nice talking to you.